Alright, hello everybody. Welcome to our next Universal Infinitas video. Prior to my previous video, I did one on what is technology, but this is the video in which we're gonna actually start talking about information technology. Now this is Emile Campbell from Universal Infinitas, and I'm just gonna get into the deal of the matter. Alright. So, as I say, we are talking about information technology now. So what is it now? To understand information technology to the fullest, information technology has to deal with the computer, the literal computer system. That's what we really talk about information technology. It is a term that is used to describe a computer equipment. Now that is information technology. So if anybody asks you what is information technology, boy, sorry about that. But asks you what is information technology, it is the term used to describe equipments that describe the computer, software, hardware. All right. Now, what is the basic components of a computer? Well, the computer, before we can talk, now we're going to deal with the basic components of a computer, right? And before we can talk about the basic components of a computer, we have to talk about the definition of a computer. And the definition of a computer is an electronic device operating under the control of instructions stored in its memory. Now, a computer can accept data, it can manipulate data, it can produce results, and can store data for future use. Now, you don't have to focus on what is data or what we mean by when we say memory. We don't have to worry about that as yet. All you have to do is worry about the definition. Try to remember it. A computer is an electronic device operating under the control of instruction stored in its memory. And the four things that a computer can do: it can accept data, manipulate data, meaning it can change it, it can calculate and take the data, put it in, sort it in its own way, and produce results. Which is 3, and 4 is to store data for future use. Now, still on the components of a computer, the basic components of a computer is hardware and software. So when you look at a computer system, there are two basic parts of a computer system. There's only two parts. There's a hardware and there's a software part of the computer. Now, when you talk about hardware, as its name suggests, it's hard. I talk about hardware as its name suggests, it's hard, meaning it's tangible, you can touch it. So anything on a computer that you see that is touchable, that you can touch with your hand, is a hardware. Now you have a software, which explains itself again as software, as it says soft. So anything on the computer that you can't touch, like the programs that you see on the screen, is a software. So you can use this to remember hardware, as in hard meaning you can touch, software means soft, that is what you see on the screen, right? Now, example of hardware would be like your monitor, be like your keyboard, and it'd be like your mouse. So these are components of the computer that are hard, that we consider as hardware, right? Now, as software, we consider like ESET antivirus, which is something that used to protect your computer from virus. The Mac OS, which is produced by Apple, which is an operating system. The Windows 7, which is an operating system made by Microsoft Windows, made by Microsoft actually, and Microsoft Office, which is also made by Microsoft, which is a office tool that you can use to create documents. Now, we're going to go on the topic of hardware. Now, we discussed hardware and software before. Now, we're going to go in details on both, but we'll start with hardware. Now, hardware has hardware is, as I say, is a physical part of the computer that you can touch, Right? So hardware is a physical part of the computer that you can touch, as I to speak before. Now, hardware has different categories. One category of hardware is the central has different part types. That was what I should say. So hardware are different categories. So each hardware would line under one of these categories. Each hardware would go under one of these, right? So the first hardware is a central processing unit. Now this is the brain of the computer, and this controls how the rest of the computer works. This controls everything about the computer and how it works, right? This is literally the thinking part. Now you have input devices, which is any device that can be used to input data in the machine, which would be like a keyboard and your mouse. This thing just keep on coming up. Alright, sorry about that. I'm gonna have to fix that in my next videos. You have output devices, which this is what gets information out of the computer and presented to you, like your monitor, or like a display device, like a monitor, perfect example, or a printer. Now memory is the category that lets you store data temporarily for the processor to use. So this stored temporary data, that's all I need to remember right now, is that the category that is fall under memory store data temporarily. Alright, now we have the final one, which is storage devices, which this is what you use to now store data for long periods of time. For example, this would be like your flash drive, your hard drives. This would be like your memory cards, right? So those are examples of that. Now I'm just going to touch on one of them, one of the hardware components. In my next upcoming video we'll go in depth on them, but I want to go through some of them to to make sure in the later videos you don't get too mixed up. Now, a central processing unit, which I explained before, is a brain of the computer. It handles all instruction that is given to the computer. So everything that puts in, the processor deals with it and put it where it should be and handle it. Now, the faster processor is the better. You understand? So the faster processor means the more information the computer can deal with at once, and the more things information the computer can manage. Now you have two examples of these processor would be like the AMD processor, or the AMD Phenom processor made by AMD, or the Intel processor. Why this keep coming up? Alright, now the central processing unit is a piece of hardware that carries all instructions, as I said before. Now it deals with the basic arithmetic, which means calculation, logic, that means it really think, and input and output operations, that means things going in and things coming out. So the central processing unit basically gives you an idea. It basically handles all of the. Alright, imagine it as a vehicle, or imagine it as a highway, right? Cars moving along the highway to the city. So cars moving into the city would be the input, so they are moving in. Cars coming out would be the output. Now the CPU handles the amount of cars come in and out of the city. Now the city would have the buildings and the facilities, would deal with the arithmetic, would build the calculation, the money aspect, and the logic will be thinking about how things happen in and out of the city, how the cars come in, where they are parked, how they are parked. Now that's logic, right?